Some breaking news that came out last night, a report that first charges have been filed in the Russia probe, that the special counsel Mueller, we don't know any information, who has been charged, what it's about.
That's what's frustrating about a leak like this.
This is a significant
break this down.
Right, major development. I mean, what's being reported by CNN, Reuters, and the Wall Street Journal is that the first charges have been filed, as Abby said, and that someone could be arrested as early as Monday, brought in. So you would assume this leaked out Friday night because they're not going to bring someone in over the weekend. It could come as early as Monday morning.
Of course, to CNN.
But we don't know which person. We don't know what the charges are. And you've had some people, reacting to this by saying the walls are coming in. This is Mueller's finally gotten there, and that
the end of the Trump administration.
Even though we don't know, this could be Paul Manafort, who has denied wrongdoing, and
Michael Flynn's also being looked into.
And it could be something they did years ago. And yet, here's David Gergen and Carl Bernstein basically saying, "Look out, Donald Trump, it's over."
Well, it certainly looks like the dam is starting to break now, Anderson, after a long while. I think we're going to be in suspense over the next couple of days until we know exactly what the charges are. If they're about money laundering, that's going to send a shudder through the White House.
It's been suggested to me by some of the lawyers involved that Mueller wants to send a signal to other prospective defendants. If this person who has been indicted or persons are facing 20 to 40 to 50 years for whatever these crimes are related to collusion or not, there are others who may be subject to similar charges who have further knowledge about dealings with Russia.
So that's my point, which is, yes, this could be an important development. On the other hand, people are just reacting with, could be 20, 40, could be 100 years in jail. Who knows? People are speculating beyond belief.
Let's bring in Louise Radnofsky, White House reporter at the Wall Street Journal. Louise, nice to have you. Let's get to this issue of Robert Mueller and his investigation. Your organization, among the others, reporting, Reuters and CNN also, that there is a sealed indictment out there against who or how many or the charges. All of that's still unknown. From your guys' reporting, is this just the beginning of Mueller's possible indictments, or does it seem like the investigation may be wrapping up?
Well, what the Wall Street Journal reported late last night is that at least one person was charged on Friday, that person could be taken into custody as early as Monday, but certainly the question at this point is how many people and what specifically they will be charged with. The Wall Street Journal did report that it was in conjunction, of course, with Mr. Mueller's probe into possible Russian collusion during the 2016 elections. As you know, the administration has denied that, the Trump campaign has denied that, and the Russians have denied it too.
Right, and conceivably, when you have a special counsel investigation, they could be looking into a lot of other things, or they could find other things along the way that were crimes that are not necessarily related to the initial scope. So in fairness, you got to point out that if there is an indictment, it could be about a number of things, whether they are about what happened during the election, perhaps something before that they found out. Get to this pivot we're seeing from the White House, and now almost every time the White House hears the word Russia, they now go back to, well, we should point out that it was Hillary Clinton who was colluding with the Russians and paying for this dossier that sort of made its way all the way back around in this boomerang effect. Does the White House think they have a winning strategy here, or do they have a point they want to get to, or is it just throwing smoke?
The White House has certainly had a very consistent strategy in the way that they've responded to these allegations and these reports since the very beginning. They've denied that there was any collusion. They've said that it's a witch hunt. They've said that it's overblown. Yesterday, Sarah Huckabee Sanders mentioned that she was asked about the president's tweet that the investigations had been costly and that they hadn't yet yielded anything. And then, certainly, we've seen them point back to Fusion GPS and the potential Democratic collusion. Now, there's been a very head-snapping week of stories in Washington this week. We also learned that a conservative online publication retained Fusion GPS, although they say that they stopped using them before this dossier was produced. So there's a lot of people mixed up in something with lines that may or may not actually ever join up, or could, but certainly we don't know how they join up right now, if they do at all.
Yeah, imagine a tangled web in Washington. It's almost like you need reporters like yourself to sort it out. Louisa, you got a busy week coming up. Thanks so much for being with us. All right.
Major development tonight into the investigation, the special counsel's investigation into Russian interference in the election. The home of President Trump's former campaign manager has been raided. But what does that really tell us, and what's next? Correspondent Ellison Barber has the story.
Further signs special counsel Robert Mueller's wide-ranging probe is heating up. FBI agents executed a search warrant on the home of Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort. A spokesperson for Manafort confirmed the raid in a statement to Fox News, adding, quote, Mr. Manafort has consistently cooperated with law enforcement and other serious inquiries and did so on this occasion as well. According to the Washington Post, agents went to Manafort's home on July 26th, the day Manafort was supposed to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Manafort made a deal with the committee to interview behind closed doors regarding a June 2016 meeting that included Manafort, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr., and a Russian lawyer. But on July 24th, the Judiciary Committee subpoenaed Manafort, claiming they were unable to reach an agreement for a voluntary transcribed interview. The next day, Manafort privately met with staff on the Senate Intelligence Committee. The Judiciary Committee then quickly reached a deal with Manafort and dropped its subpoena. July 26, the FBI raided Manafort's home, and President Trump tweeted about the idea of replacing then-acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe. The Post, citing sources familiar with the special counsel investigation, say the search warrant was wide-ranging and agents left with, quote, various records. Some legal experts say the raid was unnecessary and the timing suspicious.
A search warrant is something you do when you have someone who you think is going to destroy evidence or flee the jurisdiction, and there's been no evidence produced that that's the case.
Others say it makes sense.
I'm sure that they looked at it and decided there were missing documents, things that just didn't fit, holes that they wanted to fill. And that's why they conducted the search, because they didn't feel they could trust Manafort to voluntarily give them what they needed.
Last week, Donald Trump Jr. reportedly gave the Senate Judiciary Committee 250 pages of documents. The campaign says it gave the committee 20,000. A federal investigation into Manafort began around the time he was forced to resign from the Trump campaign amid reports of his dealings with foreign governments, specifically Ukraine. Mueller has reportedly taken over that investigation. Brett?
Allison, thank you.